I think I will save the finer details of myself, or not myself's finer details, until the 6th of July. But it is usual at this point to actually say how I see the future year developing, and what I would like to achieve. And then I will introduce the various members and chairs of the committees who are actually going to be doing the achievement of any of the purposes that I set. Firstly, I note that my presence today arises from Vice President Stefan Bruneka's elevation to a distant job in March. I know that had his escape overseas not been successful, he would like nothing more than to be presenting the agenda today. The consequence for me of the elevation of myself is that I've not had the normal planning phase for the job, and I will rely more than my predecessors probably on the work of my predecessors, Louis and Tim, and hopefully continue their policy of overlapping agendas. As my sponsors for joining the Rotary Club of London, I do owe them a deep obligation in any case. The overriding theme of the previous 2 years was recruitment and retention, both individual and corporate. And this will continue as our combined focus. I particularly hope that we can engage more corporate members and note the contribution made to the club in the last year by the Reliance Bank and the Salvation Army. A similar membership was established some years ago for diplomats coming to London. And I'm hopeful that we can actually enlarge the concept of the corporate membership to include those embassies with which we have good connections. Tim achieved his challenging objective of reaching 120 members in his year, and I hope to retain that number, if not increase it. My background in management consultancy inevitably makes me consider an organization's objectives, structures, and processes. And I hope that I will, in the course of time, produce the operating manual for the club, hopefully by the time that HS2 is completed. Seriously though, I have asked each chair to draft terms of reference for approval at the July council meeting. I'm also concerned that we seek to computerize our accounts. We need someone to work with Hugh to achieve this. Hugh has done an absolutely amazing job, and it would be invidious to expect any successor without computer assistance to get anywhere near the output that Hugh has achieved. And we need to rationalize the storage of our archives and historical mementos. We're distinguished by our origins before the First World War and our rapid development of Rotary in London. Our growth of membership towards 300 led to our spawning many other London clubs, and we remain a large club in the UK. We should protect and promote our history. I will be seeking to help you do this. Are there any archivists out there? For a club with international perspective, the development of virtual gatherings over the internet has created new opportunities. Zoom seems to have become, in just 2 months, a generic term for these meetings. And we are fortunate to be able to mitigate the effects of the pandemic by its use. In fact, it opens new horizons, which I hope we can further exploit in placing London on the parish council of the global village. Our visitor from Moscow today is an example of bringing the world closer together and promoting international understanding. As Tim said, in the last week, we responded to an invitation to visit the Gold Coast, and it was very pleasant. We shared differences of perspective, but not the weather. I hope every member will consider the opportunity to act virtually as our virtual ambassador to a club somewhere in the world, or UK, that happens to meet online. don't let Clive Amos have all the kudos for visiting other clubs. We have always had members who have recruited the very best of speakers. And indeed, Anthony and Janet, in arranging the quality of speakers that they do, are a recruitment team in themselves. I have been allowed to guest edit the speakers for August. And as an example of global reach, for the first August meeting, I've invited a speaker who I happened to hear when visiting the Rotary Club of Bombay briefly last year. He is the director of the Bombay Natural History Society, and he'll be speaking from his home in Mumbai, I hope, to give us an Indian perspective on our mutual ecological interdependence and the common threat of species extinction, perhaps including our own. I'm a devotee of the City of London as an institution. COVID-19 has interrupted our plans this year that Tim set out a year ago to meet in the city. We had planned for the Guildhall and the Old Bailey, but meetings will be arranged when physically possible. Separately, the Lord Mayor of the City of London has been invited to speak to us and responded positively, but we still have to confirm dates. We also hope to engage the Lord Mayor of the City of Westminster. Another initiative of President Tim was to tackle the integrating of younger people into the club. Consequently, the new Rotaract Club of London has been formed. Sabrina Craciun was encouraged to stand as our second vice president, non-progressive, to support tasks that the president feels less able to deal with himself. And I have asked Sabrina particularly to liaise with youth and to be our principal contact with Rotaract. I did not think grey hairs the best ambassador. All the incentives for members introduced over the last 2 years will be retained, and others considered for approval by Council in July. In particular, I would like to encourage more regular attendance. Do you remember when 50% attendance was the objective and every member's expectation? The pandemic has created great uncertainty for us. In addition to government restrictions, we have an obligation not to put our more vulnerable members at risk, and that could include health conditions, age, or even ethnic origin. And they are likely to lag, and we are likely to lag behind others in arranging large social meetings. We may be able to meet in small groups. I have asked Olivia to monitor these opportunities for us, allowing committees to get together, for example, in the next couple of months. But the December lunch may be the first large social event we feel able to hold. We're planning to support the Leonardo da Vinci meeting in Vienna, now scheduled for the 20th of May 2021, and ask those interested to protect that weekend in their diaries. I've been asked about several about my house party, which of course is not socially possible at the moment. Tim and I have agreed that when it is a possibility, we will jointly hold an event somewhere in England to allow us to represent that ancient tradition of the club. I would not be standing or sitting here today were it not for the support I've received from many members of the club. And I know I have an excellent team on council. With their support, I'm sure the club will overcome the limitations thrust upon us, and we will deliver an interesting and enjoyable year. Let me introduce your incoming team, and I will start with the Vice President-elect, Ian.
There we are. I think I've done it. Yes.
I have unmuted Ian.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President-elect. Having now completed my second term as Secretary and done a total of 10 years, it's a great honour and a privilege for the club to have elected me as Vice President. And I look forward to serving as such. My duties are laid out in the Constitution and bylaws. And I look forward to assisting you and the Club Council in all our endeavours. One particular aspect that I would like to revive is you'll be aware that there is the Rotary Club of London Bridge, which we used to have connections with in Arizona. And this has formed, they have a trust called the City of London Education Arizona Trust, which goes from the sale when the London Bridge was moved to Arizona. A pub was set up by the City of London, who then sold it, and that then created a fund to bring students from Arizona to London each August. It may not be happening this year, but may well be happening next year. And I'm going to try and see if we used to do some hosting in that respect, and I'll see if we can revive that in due course. So, Mr. Vice President-elect, President next year. Sorry, Mr. President-elect, I very much look forward to working with you and furthering all its best in the Rotary Club of London.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian. And I think it'll take us a little while to develop your project in Arizona, and I look forward to helping you in that as best I can. I now move on from someone who has been on council, I think you said a total of about 30 years, to someone who has just joined council as a young and enthusiastic new member to the club, and found herself in the elevated position of second vice president. Sabrina, would you care to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much, David, and thank you very much, Rotary Club of London, for this opportunity. It is an honor for me to be elected second vice president for the Rotarian coming year. As some of you might already know, I've already been a member of the Rotaract and Rotary family for over 10 years now, because I've been a founding member of the Rotaract Club of Piatra Neamț, Romania, the country I was born in. So for me, basically, Rotary is a family, and it means a lot having this opportunity to do charity and also giving something back to the society. This is why I've decided to join Rotary, because Rotary is not only a charity, it's also family and friends. When I moved to London 2 years ago, and when I started my MBA and my career in research and consulting, I had no family here, I had no friends, and what other better place to come than to Rotary? Well, my mission for the year is to grow and to guide the Rotary Club of London. So this means I've been the lucky person, so I got the cool mission. But being in Rotary for over 10 years, I think I have the experience necessary in order to guide them, and also in order to, I know what are the flows and what they need, because in Rotary you have young members who don't have any financial possibilities, but they do have a lot of energy. So I will guide them and I will help them as much as I can. And also they are an amazing team. Our Rotary Club of London is already an amazing team. They already have their vision and their mission set. They already started working on some projects, and they teamed up with the Charity Crisis, and you will hear more about it soon. And also, like the new members that they need to, I will help them expand their network, increase the number of members, and I'm looking forward for all of us to participate to their events. Because of the pandemic, I believe this year is going to be very challenging for both Rotary and Rotaract, but I'm 100% sure that we're going to overcome this. And as one of our Rotarian colleagues said in Bournemouth at the conference, do goodery, right? So thank you once again for this opportunity. And if anyone wants to get in contact or has any questions, please feel free to contact me anytime.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sabrina. I'm sure you will be contacted quite a lot by the members. At least I hope so. I'd now like to move on to someone who I think you almost all do know, who has been a strength of the club for some time. And in fact, we have relied on his administration for running these meetings. He is now, I'm not sure whether it's a short straw or not, but he has agreed to take over from our Honorary Secretary, and I'd like to introduce Julian Slawson.
Thank you very much, President-elect. First of all, I'd like to start off by paying tribute to Ian on his 10 years as Secretary and the way he's looked after the club. And I'm looking forward to continuing in that role, upholding the Constitution, carrying on supporting you throughout your coming year. I would also like to thank President Tim for all the support he's given me as administrator and for the mentoring, etc. and to the members for all their support, and I look forward to serving the current year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Julian. I'm sure we are looking forward with confidence to your contribution. I'd now like to move on to someone of whom nothing need be said. He has been the stalwart, I think it's 19 years or something like that, making sure that we're in a sound financial position and we don't make some of the stupid mistakes that it is tempting sometimes for presidents and others to make. In saying that, I think Hugh Kirk, who I'm just to introduce, has had to be persuaded to do another year. Hugh, could I ask you to say a few words?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, yes.
Yeah. No, I haven't been treasurer for 19 years, but in this last 19 years, there's never been a year that I haven't held the chair of some committee or other. And this will be my 10th year as your treasurer. And it'd be an honor in whatever capacity to serve this very prestigious club. And my duties really is a collection of subscriptions and entrance fees and all other monies due to the club and from the various events that occur, and to make sure they're properly lodged in the bank and invested. Also to keep proper records of all the incoming and outgoing monies and account for all the financial transactions of the club, and to prepare monthly and annual statements of the club accounts, and equally to support and liaise with all committees. And I do hope that you found in all my presentations a very clear and lucid statement of all the monies that come in and of how your monies and all the monies have been properly spent. So that, in a few words, sums up my role as treasurer, and I look forward to serving in this capacity at least for one more year.
Thank you very much indeed, Hugh. Let me move on to the chairs in reverse order. So on this occasion, youth, which sometimes finds itself last on the list, is first. And I will ask Robert Ghazi to say a few words. Robert.
Yes, good afternoon, and wish you all the best for your coming year. I'm hoping that this coming year we could do much more in respect of the youth service. Rotary Youth Service project and competition have an enormous impact on our local communities, providing young students with the opportunity to develop their skill and talent and to become active within their community. So I shall be working to increase involvement in them. Youth competition like Youth Musician, Young Citizen Awards, Youth Speaks, Young Chef, Young Artist and Writer provide young people with the platform for their talent to shine. It also gives them a chance to join Rotary, like our friend Grace O'Malley, who was a Rotary Young Citizen Award winner in 2013 and is now founder member of the Rotary Club of London. Interact is another important Rotary project that provides youngsters with a great opportunity to have fun and make a difference to their local and international community. And I shall be working for our club to sponsor an international club during the next Interact Club during the next Rotary year. Helping young people with our youth project and competition is important for the future of Rotary, as it also gives us an opportunity to increase our membership with the youngest themselves, their teacher and parents, being grateful for the opportunity we have given to them. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you very much indeed, Robert. And we particularly note that your earlier work with Grace O'Malley, how that effort rewards the club. I'd like to now move on to a new position, really. We haven't had entertainments in the last year or so, and I didn't envisage having entertainments this year. Duchess stood for council and volunteered to support me in special projects. And there are one or two that we feel might develop during the year, but it does depend on circumstance. The one that I'm hopeful for is working with V&A on a display of the club's history. And that, if that comes about, it will need a lot of focused effort, and I'm hoping for support, particularly from Duchess in that. But Duchess, would you like to introduce yourself and say a few words? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
My fellow Rotarians, a pleasant good afternoon to you all. And thank you, President-elect David, and my sponsors, Ghazi and Julian, for the opportunity to join the Rotary Club of London Council in the capacity as events coordinator without portfolio. I'm not sure how events will be impacted post-COVID-19, and I'm uncertain as to what is expected of me at this present time. However, I thought perhaps the best thing I can do today is to share with you a little bit about my experience in the events industry. So I'm an entrepreneur, fundraiser, and an advocate for charity. At a very young age, was passionate about the environment and less fortunate, vulnerable individuals of society. I have held command appointments for the last 20 years, and since 2010, I have been instrumental in organizing pardon me, several intergenerational events for residents in the London Borough of Camden, with an emphasis on engaging creative activities to unite the community and forge more harmonious relationships, for which I was awarded several certificates of achievements and recognition from the Mayor of Camden and the late Frank Dobson, the MP for Camden. During this period, I was afforded the opportunity to work alongside our dearest Ghazi at an international level. We were coordinating events and, black tie galas for the Commonwealth Countries League. And in 2013, that catapulted me to launch the CCL annual Valentine's Gala, all of it raising funds for the Commonwealth Girls Education Fund. In 2012, I was appointed president of the Bahama Host Association in UK and Europe. And throughout the years, I have hosted and facilitated a broad range of activities and events for the Bahamian diaspora and Friends of the Bahamas. I have organized hurricane relief fundraising events for both Hurricane Matthew in 2016 at the Mayfair Hotel and Hurricane Dorian in 2019 to support the work of the Bahamas Sport Fishing and Conservation Association relief efforts, but also to generate funds to directly send as aid to help the Bahamians impacted and contribute towards reconstruction efforts in the Bahamas. And through my unwavering dedication, I have made a profound, I believe, impact on many lives. And joining the Rotary family, the Rotary Club of London family, has really changed my life. I feel Rotary has unleashed a more motivated and ambitious individual with an appetite to achieve more for the community and society at large. So I look forward to working with you all on council over the next 3 years. And thank you very much for extending the right hand of fellowship and welcoming me into the Rotary Club of London family. So I'm really appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Duchess. And with your experience, I'm sure you'll be fully engaged before the end of the next year.
Thank you.
If I can move on, trying to get through people a little bit more quickly if we can, to sports. Brian.
Okay, thanks very much indeed, David, and very happy to support you in the coming year. Unfortunately, as you know, the sports in district has been somewhat cancelled. We're hoping that perhaps for the autumn we might be able to get up some of the sporting events in district, but we're not sure at this stage. So all I can say is I wish you all the very best for next year. My thanks, of course, to this year's president and the previous year's president. The thoughts are always to advance the profile of the Rotary Club of London in district, and that's my intention with the support of all our members. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. I'm sure that there are some online games that you could introduce for us. I can move on to a membership and Clive's other role as Sergeant of Arms, which he is practicing by being behind the computer at the moment, whereas at a physical meeting, he would, of course, be guarding the door. Thank you.
Thank you, President-elect David. My role as membership chairman is to deal with all aspects of membership, apart from welfare, members' welfare, which is dealt with by the Almoner. This includes dealing with all inquiries regarding prospective members, people who think they might be interested, although I have to say quite a lot that come from the web. When they actually see what it's about, they don't proceed. But we do get, it can be quite fruitful, the web contacts. The best ones, of course, are ones which are introduced by our, which are introduced by our members. This always appears to be the best route. Having said that, we've got 3 prospective members which I'll be putting to council next week. So despite COVID-19, there is still interest in joining our club. I deal, as I say, with all aspects, keeping all the records, particularly the Rotary International database. I keep that up to date. And I normally record attendance, but of course we have not been doing this whilst we've been meeting online. That in a nutshell, President-elect David, is the role of the membership chair.
Thank you very much, Clive. You have so much experience of it, and I think we know what you'll be doing for us. Could I move on to international? Nono, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you, David. International Service Committee continues to support disadvantaged children in the world. We are supporting the children in Bulgaria, Nepal, Sierra Leone, Bolivia, and Uganda. This year, we are planning to organize 3 main events. First, annual fundraising charity dinner in October. Second, Sofia visit in September. The purpose of this visit is for the inspection of BABA program that we are supporting for the past 3 years. Third, Christie's auction house visit in autumn. This is for fundraising event. Why Christie's? My husband Robin has known the head of Prince Department over 20 years. Last year, we started talking about the possibility of a fundraising charity event at Christie's, sometimes this year. But all events are on hold at this moment. Hopefully, before the end of 2020-21, all events will be completed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nono. It is certainly an aspiration that we share with you.
Thank you.
Could I move on to House? Tom.
Well, dear President-elect David, President Tim, and all fellow Rotarians, it's a privilege to be asked once again to act as chairman of the House for the Rotary Club of London. I would just like to say very briefly that the House has a great team to support you, David, for your forthcoming year, and we are all ready waiting to be able to welcome everybody once again back to the Chesterfield at our wonderful club meetings. That's all I've really got to say, I think.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. And given the time frame, I appreciate that. Could I move on to compliance? Now, Olivia has been entertainment's chair for 2 years, I think. But as I didn't see much entertainments taking place this next year, and I was vacating the role of compliance, I, in a sense, persuaded Olivia if she would mind swapping roles. Olivia.
Yeah, hello. Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh yeah, hello Rotarians, and thank you, David, the elect president, for offering me this position, of compliance, I see. And it is a very responsibility job, and I hope that I can perform this task as diligently as I can and to the best of my abilities. And you see, I would try every effort to follow the rules and regulations that has been set out in the guideline of the Rotary Club of London. And I hope to have the support of every Rotarian. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olivia. We have several documents that you have yet to see, I think.
Yes.
but and there is some updating that needs to be done.
Yes.
I know that because I didn't do it last year. So
oh,
thank you very much.
With the pandemic, I think we still got a lot of time to do.
Thank you very much. Anyway,
thank you.
Thank you. If I could move on to community and vocational, a new chair taking over from Brian, Isabella.
Yes, thank you. A pleasant good afternoon, President Tim, President-elect David Johnson, and fellow Rotarians. I must admit I had a 4-page speech prepared to outline everything, and including my intention for the forthcoming year. However, considering the time, I just want to thank my peers for electing me and thank Brian, Vasi Daniels, and David Johnson for the opportunity going forward. However, considering the unprecedented times that we all are facing, our committee have a host of virtual events, and I'll just list the ones that I have here, and I would like to have everybody's support, please. So firstly, we wish to highlight having fun together, even though we are apart. And we wish to propose a virtual fancy dress party, a virtual quiz night, donate all unwanted items. And this one is quite interesting, 10p or more every time you wash your hands, highlighting the importance of washing your hands while raising money for charity. A virtual auction, obviously a dance challenge for all of our very young Rotarians, and to end a wine and cheese evening. David Johnson have indicated the Christmas lunch. I wouldn't go into that. And he's also highlighted the very exciting task of exhibiting the Rotary's rich history. Therefore, as more information is received pertaining to all these events, we will highlight the importance of your attendance and how it is so important, and particularly this time where we're all locked down, but we need to have exciting events so that we can continue to raise money and see to it that our various charities have the relevant assistance. So in conclusion, I would just say that if our thoughts are of goodness, then the right actions will always follow. So thank you very much, Rotarians. Thank you, David, and have a splendid good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Isabella. But I'd like to move on now to communications. Chikako.
Thank you so much, President-elect David. Very honored to work for you this year. Yeah, I'm Chikako. Many of you already know me as a Hiko's assistant photographer or weekly video editor. So this is my second year as a chair and a Rotarian. Before I explain to you about my plan, I would like to thank my mentor, Hiko, President Tim, and the past Vice President, Stefan. The team, and then, technically, everybody in the Rotary, this club, and then outside of this club, so many people, that helped me and advised me through a year. And then, of course, I'm a new Rotarian last year. So it's impossible to work, alone, without any help. So I just, very much appreciated everybody's help. And then, definitely Tim is the best president ever in my Rotary year. So last year was a very tough year for me because it's not only I'm new, and then I have to learn everything from scratch. But just using my PR and then communication and the media experience, and somehow I made it. But this year, I have a more confidence to do, promote and then, organize and then doing all the, the PR communication work. And then plus, I have 2 new committee members, Duchess and Brian. Brian is a different Brian from Salvation Army, and then he's an expert of the communication in the headquarters of the Salvation Army. And the Duchess, also a professional, designer, and then we're gonna work together. It's gonna be a really good team. And then also, I'm focused about we're gonna work close together with the other community, the committees, like making their event leaflet, flyers, promoting with, through social media, so on. Because, the individual, the PR and the communication, we have to work together as a team. So, we're gonna help other committees, events, and then all the activities, work together. So, and then plus, we have a social media, Instagram, Facebook page, Twitters, and LinkedIn, whatsoever. And then 90% of the followers are not our club members. So if you have a social media account, please follow and then help and support own club. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chikako. In looking at the list, I have omitted the speakers panel. Yes. I don't know whether Anthony or Janet are available to actually just let us know. Let us know they're there.
Yes, Anthony's there and unmuted.
We rely on them so much.
Thank you very much, President-elect David. I think Janet and I are working very much hand in hand. We've got speakers really lined up in November. We've got dates missing, and we encourage anyone to come forward with any proposals they've got for speakers. We're looking at a whole raft of speakers, and I'm quite confident with Janet, so we're going to have some excellent speakers for you, David. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much, Anthony. I mean, we've been only working together a short while, but I've been so very impressed with your ability to provide the speakers that you do. Sure. The next on my list is Fraternal and District Liaison, Hugh.
Hugh, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, I'm doing multitask at the moment. I'm taking the video. I'm also taking screenshots. But anyway, when I was elected president of the club, 2010-2011, I started participating in district activities. And in those years, Rotary Club London was notorious that not caring anything about district or district events. And we had all these complaints. So I decided to put more effort in district relations and start, first of all, with the help of Clive, visiting neighbor clubs, as well as attending a district conference and other district events like a sports day or district assembly, so forth. Of course, my task is just to encourage members who are usually not interested in anything happening outside our own club, to attend as many district events as possible, and change the district impression of our own club. We also contribute to district activities. And so far, I think we are a little bit successful, but not quite, to a satisfaction. And I want club members to spend a little bit more time outside the club. Of course, now we're on a Zoom, so we start attracting a lot of visitors from outside the club, which is a good thing. But when finally the latest lockdown is lifted, we should be able to have more opportunity to actually physically participate district events. Now, going to the Fraternal. Now, the newly elected honorary member, Bob Graham, used to chair the committee for many, many years, along with House Committee, which was run by Giovanni, and both of them were running two committees very successfully before I joined club, and of course they've been doing all that until quite recently. But eventually the two committees combined together to call House and the Fraternal. The Fraternal committee main purpose is to welcome the visitors, especially from overseas. And we had some rota of half dozen members take turns to greet all these people visiting from overseas, and of course sometimes from our own district. So I don't know what format is going to be, or whether we're going to put it back to House and the Fraternal Committee, but we should be discussing real purpose and aim of a Fraternal Committee in the next council meetings. But anyway, I hope this is the one that thing that I cannot do on my own. I need all your input and participation, and I hope that our committee will be very successful. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Hiko. Now, the foundation chair, Rajiv, has a video to show us. It is likely that we will be here for another 10 or 12 minutes. I just wanted to let people know that, so that if you have to go, you know the circumstances. But Rajiv, would you tell us about the plans for foundation? Thank you.
Thank you, David. I'm honored to serve as the foundation chair and to serve you next year. Foundation have 4 areas of focus this year. The first is to look after our global scholars. Secondly, we must apply for a global grant this year. Thirdly, to ensure all club records are kept to Rotary International standards. And lastly, to encourage every one of you to donate. Starting with global scholars, we look after our global scholars. These are super young men and women in their 20s who spend a year or 2 in London studying for a master's degree. We make them feel at home because eventually they have come to a foreign land. We invite the scholar occasionally to weekly club meetings, events, district conference, Christmas lunch, and Burns Night Supper. We also try to bring them home, take them to a country pub. So we try to make them make their stay in London as comfortable as possible. The second area of focus in this year, in your year, David, is going to be apply for a global grant. Foundation facilitates obtaining a global grant for projects and in doing all the necessary paperwork. Our club members must know that if we donate £10,000 for a project, Rotary International and District contribute 25,000. So making a total of 35,000. So it's probably worthwhile we actually do a global project this year. The third area of focus is going to be club records, which we make sure they comply with Rotary International standards. And All documents need to be kept for 6 years. Club records must also be available and accessible to all Rotarians in the club. And procedures, as we have in place, must exist for documents and archiving if necessary. And lastly, this is the video I'll be showing you. The video is 1 minute, 37 minutes long. And really, it's encouraging all of us to donate, every one of us. So perhaps it's a very touching video. It's not very long, and hopefully I can get to it quite easily. Have I got screen share?
Yeah, you need to share your screen, but you have the facility to do it, Rajiv.
Lovely. Here we go. It should be coming up shortly.
There we go. Yes, we've got screen share from you.
Thank you all for listening. Any questions? Happy to answer them.
Thank you, Rajiv. I think we will leave the questions for a later time, if we may. Each of the presentations may well have given rise to to questions. And I'd like to move on to ask Harry Simmonds to talk briefly about his role, his ongoing role as Almoner for the club. Harry.
Very good. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for waiting for me. I think I'm last but not least. Well, I'll continue the Almoner's role, which is really very vital because we need to try and keep track of our members who sometimes, unbeknown to us, are not well. And I'd appeal to all members, if you know of someone who you haven't seen for a while, or if you're worried about them, please get in touch. And I'm going to ask Julian to circulate my contact details so that you can easily do that. So please do help me help our members who may need help. Thank you very much for that. And I'd just like to wish you, David, all the very best for your coming year.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, Harry. You are not quite last, certainly not least. And we now move on to somebody who is last, but definitely not least. And I'll ask Nikki Stone to talk about her view of the administration of the club. And I know that Nikki has prepared presentations from between about 6 minutes to about 25 minutes. And I'll hopefully she'll be looking at the shorter end of the scale. Nikki.
Thank you so much. I think I got it down to 4 minutes. As administrator, in order to accomplish our objectives, the structures are already in place. We have the backing of a great team involved in supporting our incoming president, David, to provide help in order to establish his long-range and annual goals of the club through great team support from his fellow Rotarians on all aspects of his presidency and to ensure a successful year ahead. As administrator, I'm here to help and I will be accessible to all of the members, handling all correspondence, dealing with incoming and outgoing mail, directing it to the appropriate officers or committee members, And then our bulletins and weekly newsletters will be the preparation that go out on Sunday, information on our speakers, lunch meetings, club, district, Ribby, Rotary International events, QBMs and council meetings, and all birthdays or anniversary celebrations. So it's posted out on Sundays, as we know, and then we also have our link for our Zoom meetings. On Tuesdays, our weekly newsletter is then posted with information from the previous day's meetings and events, showing all links to incorporate any relevant documents such as bulletins, event flyers, and district notices. Chikako takes over from there, where she sets it out on the public arena to bring about a lot more public attention to our wonderful Rotary Club. IT, our Rotary Club will reap the benefits of our new IT and mailing system that will provide an outstanding level of excellence that Julian has already set up throughout his administration and has mentored me. That man is a saint. The IT and mailing system is utilized also by Chikako for our club Google Drive. And this will enhance our Rotary Club to utilize the most efficient use of the data and information, which will provide each Rotarian to feel totally connected throughout our newsletters, bulletins, weekly notices, and updates. Our calendars will be kept up to date with both district and our own. Front of house, luckily, having worked as part of the team of talents during the first part of the year at front of house, I am so grateful to Tom, Hiko, Paul, Julian, and Stephanie for the meeting and greeting provided from the front of house committee, and by dressing the tables so beautifully, and in so doing, enhancing the experience of our visitors, thus making our Rotary Club, our members, and our president look so good. Finally, speakers, the coordination between the chairman of Speakers Committee, Sir Anthony Newton, obtaining speakers' biographies, photographs, together with the provision of the up-to-date Excel booking schedule analysis on behalf of our future speakers. This is carried out by Janet on behalf of our Rotary Club. We are so grateful for the time and effort undertaken with such brilliant teamwork to continue to produce such an array of speakers on our behalf. Thank you so much. Our task in hand would be to ensure that all goes well for the speaker on the day, either through attendance at our weekly meetings or in the present circumstances, inviting our speakers to attend our new meeting venue in our Rotary Club of London Zoom room. Fellow Rotarians, I would like to wish you all a very successful Rotary year with all our projects for 2021. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Members, any president, incoming president, would be confident when surrounded by such a great team that he will have a good, well, he or she, in my case, he will have a great year. Thank you for your presentations, and I now return the meeting to our president, Tim McAndrews. Tim.
David, well done, and what a fantastic team you've got supporting you next year. One final thing, one final part of the assembly, David, is that we need to hear, or you need to invite Sree Balcombe, who is, of course, our assistant district governor for Central, designate, and he will therefore take over responsibility for our club from Brian Coleman, to wrap up this part of the meeting. So if you could introduce Sree, please, David.
Oh yes, Sree.
Sree,
David. Okay,
my
David,
apologies, Sree, for not introducing you. It's what happens when we have lists that are incomplete. I'd like to pass to Sree to talk to us about his district work.
Thank you, President David. President-elect David, I actually bring greetings from RI President Holger Neck and our incoming district governor, Francis Uechi. My address to the club normally takes 10 to 15 minutes, and I know you don't have that time, so I'll give you an abbreviated version. Because I normally cover the guiding principles of Rotary, the areas of focus, and how district and an RI are managing their strategic plan. But maybe you invite me another time to come and do that.
We will do that. We will do that, yes. Okay. We'll invite you back.
So what I would like to just say today is, you know, I joined Rotary in 1995, and whenever somebody says that, people wonder, is this person trying to say that he knows a lot about Rotary? But in my case, what I would like to say is, since joining, I've seen Rotary change so much. And to the extent that when I joined, if you missed 3 consecutive meetings, you were immediately asked to leave the club. That's how strict attendance rules were. And now we have Zoom meetings and we can come and go as we please. So that is a real change. But the change that meets our needs, because our needs have changed over the years. You are a lunchtime club. I also come from a lunchtime club, and that's a struggle for a lot of members. And it's a wonder you have such large numbers and you keep going. And I commend you for that. Now, the more important message I have from the incoming district governor is he wants all his clubs in the district to attain a presidential citation, the RI President's Presidential Citation. So what that entails is there are 25 categories on the goal center, very achievable categories actually. For your club, I think you have already more or less exceeded the 13. You need to achieve a minimum of 13 to get the citation. And listening to what you have done and noting that you look after scholars and everything else, I think you will achieve it without much effort. So please do that for your incoming year. I have already circulated the categories. And if you need help with my Rotary, which I doubt because you have very able IT savvy people in your team, but if you need any help, please reach out to us. And finally, I would just like to say a greeting to our Rotarian from Moscow, because 2 weeks ago, our district signed the inter-country committee charter with the Russian Federation. And the DG, our DG and their DG got together, and our district takes the lead on this RIBI Russian Federation charter. And the main aim is to foster and encourage the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise. And we have, I think, started the road towards that between RIBI and the Russian Federation. President David, I'd like to end here and come back and start afresh with my full address. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Sree. I will now pass you back to our president, Tim McAndrews. Tim.
David, I think this is probably the moment to mention Brian Coleman. Brian, you've looked after this club or overseen this club from a district perspective for a number of years now. Thank you very much for doing that. Thank you for the help you've given me and previous presidents. You are now a district governor nominee, and I'm sure we all wish you very well going forwards.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I did miss birthdays today. There is only one birthday this week, Noam, 12th of June, but Noam is not with us today, so I shall just wish him a happy birthday from afar. Next week, our speaker is John Slater. John Slater has served 31 years in the Metropolitan Police and has been involved in a lot of civil disorder and sieges, and that is what he will be talking about. So we have a very interesting and accomplished speaker next week. Clive, would you mind please unmuting everybody?
It has unmuted everybody. It's done it now.
All right, everybody, it's our final
slow.
post of the day. Thank you very much. I know we're running a bit late, but it was well worth it for what we got through. Rotary and peace the world over.
Rotary and peace the world over.
Thank you all very much, and I now declare this meeting closed.
Thank you.